Welcome to Good for Bitcoin, a weekly show recorded live every Friday, where we recap the top events of the week and talk about everything that is good for Bitcoin. If it's built on Bitcoin, then it's good for Bitcoin. Let's get started.
Content shared on this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It does not constitute financial, investment, or legal advice. The views and opinions expressed are those of the host and guests and do not reflect the official policy or position of any other agency, organization, or company. We encourage you to conduct your own research and consult with a qualified professional before making any financial decisions.
Well, GM, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. This is Good for Bitcoin, a weekly show we do every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern, where we recap the events of the week and talk about everything that is good for Bitcoin. If it's built on Bitcoin, then it's good for Bitcoin. My name is Brandon, social media manager at Trust Machines. We also have Longstreet here on the leather handle. Longstreet, happy Friday, sir.
Happy Friday, Brandon. How was the week for you?
Very busy, I can tell you that. I feel like things are kind of ramping up. Obviously we're getting ready for Nakamoto. The countdown is on. We're going to talk about that a little bit more in a bit. But I'll just say, there's a lot of people that are waiting to launch certain things when Nakamoto happens. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of crunch time for a lot of folks. So definitely been a busy week.
Yep, the floodgates are about to open. It's definitely kind of calm waters, but something's about to happen. That's the feeling.
Yeah, people are definitely cooking in the background for sure. And I know that we're going to see a lot of announcements and a lot of just really, really exciting things coming over the next few weeks as people to begin to announce more things. So definitely look forward to that. And just looking at the price as well, Bitcoin is up, Stacks is up. We don't care too much about the price here, but I think as we've talked about, price tends to be a pretty good proxy for just overall sentiment in the space, right? When people are excited, price tends to go up, and we're starting to see kind of that momentum happening.
Yeah, it's always good to see. I think anyone who's been around the space in a while, and I'm looking at a lot of familiar faces in the audience, price goes up, price goes down, you build, you make friends, you make connections, you do better. So it's kind of like, all right, that's cool, it's going up. But I think we're all so far away from the realm of realizing profits. So it's kind of fun to watch and it's exciting. But as far as what do we do with it? As personally speaking, we're still very far away.
Yeah, I mean we've talked a lot about kind of on the show about how regardless of kind of where the price is, it doesn't really change too much on our end. I don't know, the fundamentals are still the same, right? Regardless, so the long term kind of conviction I think sticks around, and as time goes on, more and more people kind of adopt that mindset, which is great. But it's just nice to follow the price and see where things are headed.
Yeah, always growing, always learning, which is what the show is all about too.
That's right. And let's get into it for the week. We one really big piece of news that was Monday feels like so long ago. This announcement feels like so long ago, which is crazy that it was only a few days ago. Yeah. But one really exciting thing that we announced for Leather was this sort of sponsorship that we're doing with Laser Eyes, which is it's a wallet sort of API that is being built by OmniSats. Some of you in the audience may know Bunzi, who's part of OmniSats, is building this. And essentially what Laser Eyes is trying to do is to be sort of an open source library that developers can use to integrate a lot of the Bitcoin ordinals wallets that are out there, including Leather. So as part of this sort of sponsorship, now Leather is integrated in with Laser Eyes as well. And for anybody that is creating a dApp or a marketplace or really anything that requires, a wallet connection, historically you had to sort of use each wallet's API one by one, right? And if you're a solo developer and you have limited resources, it can be kind of hard to integrate every single wallet that's out there because that's just a lot of time. So now with something like Laser Eyes, you can just integrate this one Laser Eyes API, and Laser Eyes is compatible with all the wallets out there. So makes it much easier to integrate Leather. I think you're going to see over time, it's going to be harder and harder to not integrate Leather into your app. I guess I'll just say say that.
Mm.
We have more stuff that's coming. That's really exciting, but this is kind of just the first part of that. But really cool integration to see, and really great to be able to support the guys over at OmniSats. Bunzi especially is just a great builder in the space, and we're really excited.
Are there any particular use cases or projects or platforms that you have been excited about as you've been doing your research?
Well, so they're just kind of getting a little bit kicked off the ground. So they haven't announced a ton of integrations yet. Probably the main one that they've announced is an integration with Ordinals Bot. So Ordinals Bot is kind of signing up to get on board with them, and obviously we're big fans of Ordinals Bot. We've worked with them quite a bit in the past. But yeah, they're kind of getting on board with it, and I'm sure that many more will follow. But it's really only been out for, I believe, just a few weeks, so it's still fairly new and getting off the ground. But we're going to see a lot more providers, I think, start using it in the future.
Nice. What else do we have here? Let's see. I see. Well, how about Munib speaking at the Salt conference? I saw a lot of action at Salt, and more over the last year. I've been seeing, Munib speaking at all of the main events. It's less divided, less like side events, um, and I'm seeing just more merging as we continue to see more merging of crypto, Bitcoin, Web3 into macro. These conversations are happening at the same event.
Yeah, so Manib was on a panel, I believe it was yesterday, and fortunately the panel was live streamed, so we're gonna be able to get some clips up fairly soon. I was actually working on that this morning with editing some videos. But yeah, Manib was on a panel with Casey Rodamore, who created Ordinals, and Nick Carter was on the same panel, and gosh, there was somebody I believe from Lightspark that was there. Um, there was like 5 or 6 people on the panel, so I'm struggling to remember all the people that were on it, but it was a stacked panel. But yeah, really really great. I mean, Manib has been, yeah, like you said, I feel like, well, the conference circuit is on right now, so he's just been bouncing all around to all these different conferences, preaching the good Bitcoin L2, gospel, and yeah, it's great to see.
Slow and steady. And then I know we're going to be talking about sats per VByte in a little bit, if not now, because when fees go up, everyone starts freaking out, thinking about like, oh my gosh, we have to scale Bitcoin. What are we going to do? Enter Munib. There's a plan for that.
Yeah, there certainly is. I think, yeah, I mean, before we get into news, maybe just to recap the final thing, I would love to hear. Unfortunately, I couldn't really make the space yesterday, but I would love to hear a little bit more about your leather lounge that you had with NFT Africa and Good Kitty and some other really great folks that were on that panel. I'd love to hear more about how that went.
Sure. Yeah. It was another great episode. Let's see. Yesterday was episode 17 for the Leather Lounge, and it was all about NFT Africa. And we talked with Cherie and Good Kitty. Cherie entered the ordinals and NFT space as a Gamma partner artist a year, maybe 2 years ago. And that's when I first discovered her and started collecting her photography just because I thought it was incredible. Last year, she submitted a D grants application and received funding. And that's what kickstarted this NFT Africa event. So it's always great to see how some of these D grants projects come to fruition. Some of them, like, they might die off, they might split off, they might lose funding or momentum, but a lot of them, the idea is that you help the ones, the best ones, cross the finish line and get all the support that they need. And this is definitely a case of the D grants program supporting great ideas like NFT Africa. So yeah, they just kicked off this week. There are several events happening over the next couple of months, IRL events happening all over Africa, as well as online events too. And it was a great conversation. You can tell by listening to Cherie and others speak that Cherie specifically has so much valuable experience and perspective to share when it comes with onboarding new artists, what it's been like for her as an artist, how her style has evolved, what the challenges are for new people coming in, getting over the technical learning curves. So she had a lot of wisdom to share. Good Kitty was also there, and she's always full of wisdom, great perspective. She has a very successful career even before she came into Web3. She brings tremendous perspective as well. So it was a great conversation. I always learn a lot, and that was 2 weeks in a row that we got to talk about art on Bitcoin and in the general Bitcoin L2 space. So it's a passionate topic for me, being a musician, photographer, creativity advocate. So yeah, yesterday's show was great. And next week, we're going to be talking to some builders from the Stacks ecosystem again, and including XY0, HODL Stacks. We're going to be talking about on-chain reputation and bounties through Zero Authority DAO. And there was even some chatter this morning on X about Jakob from Hermetica stopping by to give us an update. So next week is looking good too.
Yeah, next week. I mean, that's probably a perfect segue into next week, because Nakamoto is being released next week, and we we posted that the other day, and I think there was maybe a little bit of confusion on exactly what that means. So I think you actually did a little recap of this as well yesterday on a little bit of the timeline, but just for the audience here, I wanted to share what does that actually mean. So next week, it's actually on Wednesday, on the 28th, Nakamoto code is going to be released to network operators. So code will be done, it'll be released. Network operators can begin to download it, install it, get it set up on their clients, do all that fun stuff. And because of that, right, that doesn't mean that Nakamoto is going live on the 28th. It's going to take a couple of weeks, specifically around 2 weeks, in order for all that kind of setup to happen on the back end. During kind of that 2 week period, that's when a typical sort of stack, or how long a typical stacking cycle lasts, is around 2 weeks. So during that kind of 2 week period, we'll have network operators upgrading to this new code. Signers will kind of do their handoff, and then core devs will end up selecting the final hard fork block. So that final hard fork block will be decided on, and that's once that block reaches happens, that's when Nakamoto will actually go live. That's when we'll get things like fast blocks and 100% Bitcoin finality and all the really fun things that we've been very eagerly anticipating. So it'll happen not next Wednesday, probably another couple weeks after that, but nonetheless very exciting. And obviously it's something that we've all been very much looking forward to.
Yeah, a long time coming. I know it was very like wind getting sucked out of the sails when it was announced that Nakamoto was getting delayed. So just 2 more weeks. And it's as if, we're going to build the Nakamoto Citadel, right? On the 28th, all the supplies, all the lumber, it's going to be delivered, right? And then it'll take 2 weeks to, make sure we got the blueprints, put everything up, start building it. And then we're going to be living the dream.
Yeah, the Nakamoto IKEA dresser will be delivered, and then there's a little bit of assembly required, and it'll take us about 2 weeks to get it all put together.
Often your kids come in and try to help you.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully no missing parts. Hopefully everything goes smooth, and we'll have Nakamoto very, very soon. And then once Nakamoto does go live, SBTC is supposed to come into fruition a couple cycles after that, about 4 weeks or so. So we'll then have SBTC going live, which will then allow really seamless, really easy bridging in and out of the Stacks network from BTC to SBTC. And that's going to be another gigantic unlock for Stacks as well. So a lot of really big things happening over the next month and a half. And Stacks community has been, again, very eagerly anticipating this. So it's really exciting to see it's finally happening.
Yeah, we're so close. We're so close.
Yeah.
So how about in the realm of politics? Do we want to touch on that? What's new there?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is still sort of ongoing. I don't know if it's been confirmed all the way yet, but just this morning, well, it's been rumored, I think, for a day or two that RFK was going to be dropping out of the race, and the rumor is that he's going to be dropping out of the race to then endorse Donald Trump. This hasn't happened yet, but I feel like I've heard some folks almost talk about like Bitcoin price has been sort of acting as a bit of a prediction market for like Donald Trump, which
Ah,
is interesting. And we've seen Bitcoin price kind of go up today, and I think RFK is of course very pro Bitcoin, right? We talked about his speech that he had at the Bitcoin conference, and if he's going to advocate for Trump. You guys can hear me. I just got like a little notification that my host was like
uh,
crapping
okay.
out.
I wasn't sure if it was on my end. Yeah.
Okay, we're back. We're back. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Sorry about that. But anyway, yeah, and a little bit just more in kind of politics news, I guess. So the Democratic Party released their sort of platform. We talked about the Republican platform they released, a few weeks ago, of course, mentioning Bitcoin and crypto. And we don't need to spend too much time on this because they didn't mention crypto or Bitcoin or digital assets or anything like that. And in the Democratic platform, and a lot of people were saying, oh, it's because this is actually was drafted a long time ago. The platform was actually drafted, I guess, prior to Biden even dropping out of the race. So it's a bit old, and maybe they still need some time to adjust. But yeah, I mean, they just didn't mention it at all. So kind of a bummer.
Yeah, especially for an ecosystem that leans so heavily into the ethos of don't trust, verify. Like saying nothing is it's not a good look. And then even when we do hear announcements, the proof has to be in the pudding. It can't be on the spectrum of like, trust me, bro, I'm gonna do what's right for crypto. You know, we gotta see some actions. And there's rumors of people having conversations, but yeah, nothing has really manifested yet that can make people on the Democratic voting side on the left, excited about any possible adoption of a crypto platform.
Yeah, I mean that's just what it is, right? Is there's they're not even acknowledging it, and we saw at the Bitcoin conference, both Trump and RFK came out with very very specific action items for what they were going to do,
Hmm.
um, regarding their Bitcoin policy. So we haven't seen anything from that on the Democratic side yet. So
And
time will tell, but yeah, I agree. The proof is definitely in the pudding, and we haven't seen anything yet.
yeah, and everything at this point comes down to not popular vote, but the electoral college, right? Um, it's been about a week since I hopped onto Polymarket. Check out this difference. Okay, so popular vote winner 2024, Kamala Harris 71%. Presidential election winner, Donald Trump 50%, Kamala 49%. And that's been a huge change. But that discrepancy is huge. And everything comes down to like what what small tiny subsects of every voting region, what is most important to these swing, not even swing states, but like swing regions, right? And I mean, honestly, like the way it all gets calculated, I'm sure there are some people that are weighing the pros and cons. Is it worth having a Bitcoin opinion? And I'm sure that if some people will determine that it's not important for some reason, for some regions.
Yeah, we've talked about this as well. Like I'm in California, right? So my my presidential candidate is kind of decided for me here in California.
Right.
But yeah, certainly there are very important states that each party is going to have their eye on, and yeah, we'll have to see what happens there. But speaking of Polymarket, it right now there's like a 91% chance that RFK is going to endorse Trump during his address today. So a lot of people are betting that that is going to happen.
Wow, that's I know there's like so many sources for polling, but this is the most entertaining one for me. I always go to Polymarket.
Yeah, we should probably just talk about Polymarket more often on these spaces because it's a really great. I agree. It's a really great resource. It's like lightning fast in terms of the data. Right, there can be a new piece of data or information that comes out, and then immediately this information changes almost in real time, and people are literally putting their money where their mouth is for this data. So it's not just they're not just voting to troll, like they're betting on, they're betting on the outcomes of these things. So
Thank you, D.
yeah, it's much more likely. And yeah, I agree. Thank you, Dgens.
Nice. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, Babylon.
Yeah, let's talk about this. So you kind of hinted at this at the top of the show. So for those that were not, I I'll have to admit I wasn't like aware that this launch was happening, but Babylon is sort of a it's a Bitcoin layer. Basically, they do staking, but you're staking Bitcoin for other chains. But basically, they initiated the first phase of their staking mainnet, and it was limited to 1,000 Bitcoin. So basically, there was just this gigantic rush for everyone to stake Bitcoin and just kind of be part of the first, cohort of users of their Babylon kind of staking protocol. And as a result of that, so this happened just yesterday. Yesterday morning, we saw one block went as high as over 1,500 sats per vbyte, basically rendering the chain useless for any normal transactions. Wow. But it was really interesting because before it launched, the fees were really low, right? They've been kind of low lately. They've been around like 3 to 5 sats per vbyte. So it was like 3 to 5 sats per vbyte. This kind of, it launched. Suddenly, Bitcoin fees spiked up to over 1,000 sats per vbyte. And as soon as that cap hit, it just went back down to normal, with like 3-4 sats per vbyte. So all that happened within maybe like an hour or two, which is just really interesting. We didn't see, like with Runes, right? Runes was the last example when the halving happened, where there was suddenly a huge surge in fees because everyone was trying to be the first, mint the first runes and create the first runes and do all that. But it definitely didn't have that very quick taper off, like this Babylon launch did, right? We saw those high fees kind of carry on for several days through the weekend and through kind of the first half of the week when Runes launched. So yeah, really interesting that it just spiked so quickly, so fast like that.
Could you give us a little background on what Babylon is, what it means if you're staking, what you can do with the platform?
We should probably do a deeper dive on it. I've seen so David Say is kind of the creator, maybe CEO. I'm not sure what his actual like official title is at Babylon. I've seen him speak many times. He was at Bitcoin Builders Conference. He was on a panel last year. I saw him at Stanford Blockchain Week. That was very interesting. So I've seen him speak several times on it, and it seems like a very interesting protocol. But I don't want to butcher Babylon and try to explain what it is because I think it can get fairly technical. But what it's essentially doing is it's trying to sort of bring sort of a proof of stake system to Bitcoin, where you stake Bitcoin and then that the security of Bitcoin, but you're staking and earning and I don't know. We should do a deeper dive on it actually, because it is a very interesting system and pretty unique system as well.
Yeah, and it's one of the innovative use cases, making Bitcoin more scalable, more usable. So yeah, I'm curious to learn more.
Yeah, And yeah, just to follow up on the high fees. So it was 800 block 857,911 was mined by Antpool, and they earned over $1 million in fees from that one
Oh,
block. So over 18 Bitcoin.
crazy. I mean, it's kind of luck of the draw. Like sometimes if you're a miner, sometimes, the the Lord and Savior Satoshi is shining down on you, and you get these random like great rewards.
Yeah, it's definitely great for miners. I think it's a sign of things to come, right? Like there's going to be more examples of these as time goes on, as Bitcoin, transaction fees get higher over time, as the subsidy gets lower over time with each halving, as more L2s come online, as more activity happens on the L1. Like you said at the beginning of the show, right? It was sort of uh, a signal or a reminder that, oh, Bitcoin fees are high, and we need to do more activity on the L2s in order to protect ourselves from these really high fees. And it's also somewhat ironic that it was essentially an L2 that caused these high fees, but we're gonna see that happen, I think, more often as well.
Yeah, I bet as a trend overall, we're going to see less volatility in these fee spikes just because there are going to be more robust L2 solutions that can absorb the demand for block space. So that would be my bet, is that over time, yes, we're going to still see volatility with the fees, but it won't be so extreme. That's my guess.
Yeah, I mean, when you think of like going back to stacks, right? Like with every Bitcoin block, stacks needs to settle back to Bitcoin. And stacks is going to have to do that no matter what the
Hmm,
L1 fees are.
right.
So, and I'm sure, many more L2s are going to be in a similar boat, right? Where all these L2s are all going to be competing for fees on the L1 as well. So it has to happen, right? They need to pay. So, um, yeah, it's a very interesting setup for Bitcoin on the L1, and yeah, I mean, I'm sure we're just going to see more examples of this in the future.
Yeah, that was one of the more exciting things happening today in Bitcoin. What about
Yeah,
what's happening with this 4,000 Bitcoin hack?
yeah. I mean, it's a crazy headline. I saw, Zach XBT is very well respected researcher in the space, with on chain data and tracking down criminals and hacks and things like that. And he tweeted out a few days ago that there was this really suspicious transfer that happened of over 4,000 Bitcoin, which is around $238 million. But we didn't really see too much more information on it. So I guess TBD on the source of it or who was behind it or anything like that. I think a lot of it's still not known yet, but that's a pretty high profile case, and yeah, just something to keep an eye on.
Dang, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. Anything on the trust machines, leather side that you're excited about that you can talk about? Because I know you're always like working on 100 things. But yeah, anything on your side that you want to share?
I mean, yeah, well, just generally, I'll say, yeah, a lot of the things that we've been working on, obviously Nakamoto is something that we're really excited for. We actually got a couple of questions over this week, and just to sort of confirm for everybody, the upgrade, like for fast blocks, isn't really going to require like updates or any action on the user end. Um, Basically, these updates are more of on the API side. So you're not going to need to update Leather in order to take advantage of Nakamoto. You're not going to need to bridge any coins to make them Nakamoto compatible or anything like that. So be really cautious. I would say, of like scams potentially coming out saying that you need to do these certain actions. It's if everything goes well, it's going to be a very seamless process that doesn't require any action really on anybody's end. it's just gonna happen, and then suddenly blocks will be faster.
I'm going to have to DM you my seed phrase for it to work. Okay.
Please do
Okay,
not do that.
Good clarification.
But yeah, so obviously that's the big thing that we're all looking forward to, is Nakamoto. We've had some announcements in the past. We announced, of course, Orange domains and .locker, and BNS v2 is also sort of in the works and being finalized, and we'll have some more news there. I'm really looking to do a dedicated space, or maybe even multiple spaces, on .locker, with some more of the folks there that are building that solution. I know there's still kind of a lot of questions, and honestly, we're waiting to have BNS v2 finalized and out there, before we kind of refocus on .locker. So TBD on .locker, but excited to have more information there as well. And yeah, I mean, things are just moving along with a few other things that I can't talk about yet, but looking forward to more announcements coming out later this year. Trust Machines is doing a lot right now.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be good. Good to stay in tune. Keep those notifications on. Lots of good things rolling out.
Yeah, well, I think that wraps it up. It's maybe kind of a short and sweet week. I know last week was just like a packed week with news, so a little bit lighter week this week. But we can, we would just like to get through the news and be efficient, and that's totally fine, right? We want to respect everyone's time. So yeah, thank you everybody for listening today, for tuning in. We talked about it last week as well. We're still working on getting these published on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and everywhere that you listen to podcasts. So if you can't tune in live, you can tune in there. So within the next, I think, week or two, we'll finally have those up. Looking forward to that. And be sure to tune in to Leather Lounge next Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern, and Good for Bitcoin every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Brandon. I always we've been learning and growing, and I've learned so much about just how to make better shows. So every day we're doing something better. So I'm excited to get this podcast version out too, because I know that's going to unlock a lot of people. Podcasting is their preferred method of taking in media. So we're going to make sure that they're taken care of too.
Totally. Yeah, looking forward to that. This is episode 21 of Good for Bitcoin. So we've been doing this for 21 episodes now, which is pretty amazing. So we're going to get all those published. Please don't listen to the first few episodes because they're probably really bad. But I think we've gotten a little bit better since then. But but we'll get them up anyway.
Yeah. Are you thinking about republishing previous episodes on the podcast, or are you just going to start fresh?
I think we'll be I guess transparent, and we'll publish all the old ones too, even though they weren't maybe as polished as the ones as they are now. But maybe not episode 0, the hidden episode 0. Yeah. But maybe we'll start with episode 1.
Maybe you'll release it as an NFT and what?
Maybe it's going to be. I'm going to make it really expensive so nobody can buy it and listen to it.
That's right. I see some familiar faces in the audience. Thanks everyone for tuning in. There's been a lot of people who are here every show, so we appreciate you. We see you.
We certainly do. Yeah. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We will see you next week. It's going to be a huge week with Nakamoto release kicking off everything. So really exciting week to come. And yeah, have a good weekend, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. We record Good for Bitcoin live every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on X. Please follow us at Trust Machines Co. if you would like to listen and engage with us live. Visit us at trustmachines.co for all the latest Bitcoin news. We'll see you next week.